You modded your DSI and you want to get games on it the honest way.
There's something you don't
So
see every
that's what
day.
today's topic is on this episode of We Get Technical. Well, I first like to say, what a crappy intro. Hey, I tried. I recorded that thing like 10 to 20 times and I just could not get it right and I give up. That's what you're getting. Either way, before we get into today's topic, I'd like to say don't forget to let me spend my money so you don't waste yours by hitting that subscribe button. And if you'd like to keep informed of new videos that are being uploaded on the Deem channel, you gotta go ahead and click that bell. One click. Ring the bell. Click it. Keep informed. Let's get into the topic of today before I start babbling about a bunch of BS. And like I said in the intro, you watched that video of me modding the DSI. You've modded your own. If you did not do so and you're interested in doing so, there will be a link to that in the top of the screen. Go ahead and click that. It will also be in the description so you can access that at the end of the video. Now you're at the point where you want to get your Nintendo DS library on the SD card, and it's actually fairly simple. There is an app called Godmode9, which will allow you to rip your DS games directly to the SD card. I have 128 gigs. Now the original SD card, if you watch that video, was only 8 gigs, and I have upgraded to 128. There's a specific way of doing that. I will go through that at the end of the video, so don't forget to stay tuned if you're interested in upgrading the actual space or storage of the SD card. Now, I'm not entirely sure about what the max size is that this will read. I'm gonna want to go ahead and say 256, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. I got 128 gigs and I think that's gonna be plenty for now. We'll see in the future. The first step, obviously, we're gonna get over to the PC and we're going to show you where to get Godmode9. Alright guys, the first step is to go to the GitHub website and get the Godmode9 app. I guess we'll call it an app. You're going to want to download Godmode9i DSI. I mean, if you guys know how to use source code, you can go ahead and do that as well. After you've downloaded that app, obviously you're going to want to use a unzip file to open it. And that will be the WinZip or 7-zip, I believe. That's the one I normally use. I don't even know why I have WinZip here, but you can use either two of those. You unzip that file. I'd suggest copying it to the desktop just for easy access. Then you're going to want to drag that over to the root directory of your SD card. Now, something you want to avoid, it's something that I did. I tried to load this app after I got into the Twilight menu. And then I realized I could not get to the root directory of the SD card that way. I could not find the file, so I then ended up copying the file to the ROMs folder and then NDS, and then I tried to launch the app in the DSI through that method, and it just hangs up. It will not work that way, so just make sure you do put that Godmode9 on the root directory of your SD card. And now we'll go into how you get the app to load. Alright, you got the SD card in. You got a game you want to rip to the DSI. I got, as you can see, Lufia, Curse of the Sinistrals. I believe that's how you pronounce it. What you first want to do is you want to power on. Now, as I said before, hopefully you made sure that that Godmode9 app or .nds file is in your root directory on your SD card. You're going to hold A and B and then hit the power button. And as you can see, it's going to bring you in the Haya CFW menu. You're going to want to go all the way down. And as you can see, as long as you put it in the root directory of the SD card, you will see Godmode9 right there. Press A to launch the app. Here's the app. And as you can see at the top, it's going to say SD card, and it'll tell you what it is. And then you'll see SD card, you'll see NAND, system NAND, and then RAM drive. And once you plug the game in, NDS game card will pop up. You want to go down there and press A, and at the bottom you'll get another couple of different menus you can press. You got a selection of tasks that you can do. As you see, it says dump NDS card ROM to SD card / Godmode9 / out. It says A for yes, Y for trim, B for no, and X for save only. I'm gonna go ahead and press A. That will dump the NDS card ROM to the SD card. And as you can see, it's gonna go through that process. Alright, and the process is now finished. You won't really get any confirmation or anything. It'll just pop back to the basic menu here. Now, the only thing is as you may have seen before, it's going to copy it to that Godmode9 folder, but that's not the desired spot that you want it in. You want it in your ROMs and your NDS folder. So if you go up to SD card, and as you can see, here's the Godmode9 folder. That's the GM9i. You'll go in here, go in out, and here you go. This is the game files here. As you can see down here, you have a bunch of commands here you can do. You can delete with X. You can copy the file. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press Y for copy. And now I'm going to hit B to back out. And it'll back out the root directory of your SD card. Now you want to go down to ROMs and hit A. Then you want to go down to your NDS folder, obviously hit A. As you can see here, it'll say Y for paste, and it's going to paste this file, which is in the clipboard. So you go ahead and you hit Y. And now it'll ask you, do you want to copy or move? I normally move it, obviously, so there's not two of the same files on the SD card. You hit A. It now moved it, and you will see that file right there. Now you want to head back, so hit B. B again, and you want to go back into that folder, and you want to get the other file, which is the .save. I'm guessing that will be your save file if you ever played the game. Now both those folders are in there. Now that you're done with that, you're going to want to go ahead and power down the device. I'm going to go hit the power button again, but this time do not hold A and B. Now, the bigger the SD card, I think the longer this white screen will come on. Some of you guys were having issues with that. You got to wait a little while just to see if it pops back up, because this is the system actually trying to read the SD card. Sooner or later, you should obviously see the Twilight menu splash screen pop up. Actually, I'm wrong. The Nintendo DSI pops up, and then it says to touch the screen. That took about a minute long for that to actually come on. You hit that, and then the Twilight splash screen will come on. We're going to go ahead over here. Just going to bring up the Twilight menu. And obviously we're already in, because that's the last folder I was in. The NDS folder and the ROMs folder. And there you go. Lufia Curse of the Sinistrals. Let's go ahead and make sure it actually plays. And there you go, the game is loading. I'm gonna go ahead and play a little while of it because we got that error message. I think I got that error message when I downloaded Metroid Prime. I believe it's Echoes as well. At first I thought the A button was working. I guess that beginning skip you can't skip, but obviously it's working. Alright, there you have it. You have a DS game from your library on the SD card. You can load up all your games onto the SD card, not have to carry every single cart, not worry about losing it. It's already on the 3DS.
You dumb mother!
It's already on the DSi. As I said early on, at the end of the video, I was going to show you how to get a bigger SD card on here, because if you were like me and you only had an 8 gig sitting around, that's what you use to modify this DSi, and obviously that's not going to be big enough to hold a bunch of DS games. You're probably going to be good with that if you're only looking to emulate retro consoles. So let's move over to the PC, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright guys, we're back on my PC, and what you're going to need for this is obviously the original SD card that you use to mod the DSI. Mine was an 8 gig. I have purchased a 128 gig. You're also going to need, for my laptop, it only came with a micro SD card slot, so obviously I'm going to need some sort of external reader so I can read an actual SD card. So I bought one of those. And if you have an older laptop, you might have an SD card reader built in. For me, I didn't have that. So not only did I have to buy an external SD card reader, I also had to buy another one because I obviously need to read 2 SD cards at the same time. Now, the first thing that I did try, and it did not work, I tried to just copy the folders off the original SD card and drag them to my desktop, and then take that SD card out and then put the new one in and drag those folders onto the new SD card, which is right here, and the DSI would not load. I was getting an error message. So obviously, I don't know if maybe a hidden folder in there or a file was there that did not copy over during the process, and then the DS could not read it. Maybe there was a specific name or something it needed during the modding process. I'm not entirely sure what was going on there, but I got an error message. So obviously I had to hit the internet and do some research, and one of the solutions was that you had to actually clone the SD card, which is fairly easy. I actually used, I didn't even notice it's sitting right here on the desktop, Mini Tool Partition Wizard. I will have a link in the description down below to that if you haven't used it or don't know where to get it. And as you can see, I have 2 SD cards. This is the 128 gig, and down here is the 8 gig. Now this one will not look like this when you first start. What you're going to want to go ahead and do, you want to click on this, and you're going to want to go ahead and format it. I'm not going to go ahead and do that, but you want to format it. Alright guys, I put a completely different SD card in. I want to make sure that I actually show you each step. I don't want you to get confused. So I took the 128 gig out, so just pretend that it's a bigger drive. Now you got G and H. G is the one that you're going to be copying from, and H, just make sure you know which one is which. If you got a bigger card, you're going to know the difference. I had to take it out, in and out, like a couple of times just to make sure I had it right. H is the one we're going to be copying to. So what you want to do is you obviously want to make sure it's FAT32. Now it's not going to be FAT32 when you first buy it. I think it's going to be EFAT or EXFAT. And you can't format a bigger SD card. I think, what size is it? I don't know, anything bigger than 8 gigs I think can't be formatted in FAT32, or it might be less than that. Don't quote me on that. I know it's one of them, but in Magic Partition Tool you can format it as that. So you're going to want to right click, you're going to go to format, this is going to come up, and you want to change it from NTFS to FAT32. And I normally leave the cluster size to default. You're going to go ahead, hit format, and in this app you always have to hit apply. It'll apply the changes. It's not going to do it until you hit apply. You hit apply, and obviously you see we strongly recommend you close all other applications before applying the pending charges. Changes, nothing's open from that, so we're going to be alright. I hit yes. It is now formatting H. That is successful. It is now formatted. As you can see, capacity is 7.4 gig. And over here is the used, which I believe is just the file system or whatever. Now what you want to do is you want to right click on the other SD card, which is the card that you're going to be cloning. I don't see it in here. You probably could just hit copy, but just for the sake of doing this right, I'm going to go over here and you're going to go to Copy Partition Wizard. You're going to hit next, and it's going to say select the partition you would like to copy. I'm going to go down here, and we're copying from G, which is this one. So we're going to click this, and we're going to hit next. Now it's going to ask you where do you want to copy it from, and that is obviously going to be H. So we're going to go ahead and click H.
You dumb mother.
Ah, you see guys, I forgot a step. Let's rewind. Alright, I guess the card I forgot has to be unallocated. I guess during the copying process it'll make it FAT32, so you just want to right click and hit. I mean, it's not going to come up now, unfortunately. You want to right click and you'll have the option to delete, and you just delete it, it'll become unallocated. Now let's re-click on the G drive, which is the one you're going to be copying from. Copy partition again, hit next. You want to scroll down and you want to pick G, then hit next. Now it's going to ask you where do you want to copy it. You're going to scroll down and hit H, which is unallocated. Alright, and this is the step where you're going to end up hitting finish. I wouldn't change any of this. If you have a bigger SD card, I'm going to show you how you can expand the file system on it so you can use all of it, because right now you're cloning that 8 gig SD card, and yes, it's in my computer, it's being cloned as into another 8 gig, but you're going to have a bigger SD card, a 64 gig, a 32 gig, 128 gig like I have on my DSI now, and it won't let you utilize all that space because it's cloning the 8 gig SD card and it's only giving you 7.4 gig partition, which means you will not be able to use anything more than that 7.4 gigs. Let's go ahead and hit finish, click apply, hit yes, and now it's in the process of cloning it. We'll come back when it's finished and I'll show you how to expand the file system. Alright, as you can see, it's finished now. Apply all pending changes successful. Hit OK. As you can see, these are pretty much carbon copies of each other. If you're looking to expand the file system, you can right click, move and resize, and as you can see, you can go in here and you can slide this. You can change the partition size. Obviously this is a small 8 gig, so you're not going to be able to move up. It's only going to change it down. Alright, I just want to show you some of these adapters. And here's the one I bought. This is a USB Type-C, which this can be used on your cell phone as well. I have tested it. It does work really well. You have three 3.0 USB ports. You have an SD card slot and a micro SD card slot. You have a HDMI, which is where I used it for my cell phone. This thing does get pretty hot. I'm guessing FleePow, or there will be a link in the description down below to this. It works pretty well. If you guys would like to see me do a review on this, let me know in the comments down below. I definitely will do a review on this, you know, the speed and everything, and also talk a little bit more about it getting hot and how long it takes before it does get hot. I also had this USB 3.0, and on this one it has an SD card slot, micro SD, it has a CF card, and MS. I don't even know what that is. Obviously it's probably like micro something. I'm not entirely sure what it is. It's definitely not another SD card slot, obviously. Either way, they were pretty cheap. I have a link in the description down below to this one as well. This one's from Ugreen. I've bought OTG cables from them. They seem to work pretty good. This is the original SD card that I used when I was doing the soft mod on this. This is the brand new one. This is the 128 gig, and this is the one that I just made a copy of just to show you guys how to do it. Let's go ahead and see if this thing does work and it does load up. And one of the other reasons why I had to get a new SD card is because I ripped this SD card out without unmounting it, and it actually messed it up. It will only read to it or write to it. I don't know if I broke this, but that's all it does. And as you can see, it does load. Now, as I said, when I did try to just copy the folder over to my desktop and copy it onto an SD card, this did not come up. It pretty much just gave an error. And as you can see, the Twilight menu comes up. It does work. So you got to go through all those methods. If you guys have any questions on any of that, please leave it in the comments down below. I'll try my best to answer it. I don't know the answers to everything, but I will try to help you. If you liked what was contained in this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. If you found this video to be uninformative, not very well put together, boring, and you just don't like me, you can always go hit the thumbs down. If you found the video to be of some sort of value, don't forget to share amongst friends and the rest of your social media. And as always, don't forget to let me spend my money so you don't waste yours by hitting that subscribe button. Yes, it's up here.